Area 51. Welcome to Global Fact Pulse. Imagine a coordinate on the map that, officially, doesn't exist. Yet, it hides the darkest secrets of the world's most powerful nation. I'm talking about Area 51. Some say it's a lab where aliens are dissected behind closed doors. Others believe it's a breeding ground for extraterrestrial superweapons. Most people shrug it off as just another conspiracy theory. But what you're about to hear today isn't some cheap campfire story. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on the raw, classified truths that America has kept buried for over 7 decades. Why was this hell on earth actually built? And how, believe it or not, did America's greatest enemy, the Soviet Union, accidentally help construct this fortress of secrets? We'll uncover the mystery of the shadow men recruited to work there, people whose very identities have been erased from existence. And we'll revisit that infamous night, when a single internet post dragged thousands of people to the very gates of this impenetrable stronghold. Are you ready? Because from this moment on, every second will pull you deeper into a labyrinth with no easy exit. The year is June 1943. The world is choking on the stench of gunpowder. And right at that moment, a German monster screams through the clouds, the Messerschmitt. The world's first ever jet fighter, the Allies were paralyzed. Who could possibly stop this titan in the sky? But America wasn't about to sit back and watch. They sent an emergency distress call to Lockheed. The mission was simple yet impossible. Build something that breaks the speed of sound. What followed was a frantic, high-stakes race against time. In just 143 days, the P-80 shooting star was born. But the celebration was short-lived, because emerging from the shadows was a Soviet nightmare, the MiG-15. America's pride was shattered. What kind of technology did the Soviets possess that was robbing the Pentagon of its sleep? It was this exact paranoia that gave birth to the most secure, most enigmatic fortress in human history. A place so secret the government is afraid to even whisper its name. Yes, this is how the dark journey of Area 51 began. But how did the Soviet Union, completely by accident, help America build this secret lair? The answer will send chills down your spine. America was consumed by a dangerous obsession to build a craft that was invisible, invincible, and untouchable. But what if the blueprints for this ultimate weapon fell into enemy hands? The Pentagon knew they couldn't do this at just any ordinary base. They needed a void, a piece of isolated hell erased from every map on Earth. Enter Kelly Johnson, the legendary Lockheed engineer. His mission? Find the Devil's Den. In the heart of the barren Nevada desert, he found a place so silent, even the wind seemed afraid to whisper. And just like that, Area 51 was born. World War II came to an end, but a new ghost appeared, the Cold War. The Soviet Union had captured the most brilliant, most dangerous German scientists. Stalin's power was surging by the second. America was desperate to peer behind the Iron Curtain, but there was one problem. Russia's airspace was a death trap. Even a fly wouldn't go unnoticed without being blown out of the sky. Then, out of the darkness emerged a freak of engineering, the Lockheed U-2. It cruised at altitudes where radars went blind, appearing as nothing more than a haunting black shadow. But the story takes a sharp, terrifying turn. In 2013, declassified documents revealed something bone-chilling. Kelly Johnson, the genius behind the aircraft himself, claimed he saw something in those skies. Something not of this world. Why would a top-level engineer stake his reputation on a UFO sighting? Did he truly witness an extraterrestrial visitor, or was Area 51 secretly cooking up technology from another dimension? The fog is finally lifting. We now know the architect was Kelly Johnson, and the objective was clear: create a shadow craft to rule the skies while remaining invisible to the eye of the radar. In the classified archives, this top-secret operation was whispered as Project Aquatone. But on May 1st, 1960, the Pentagon's absolute confidence turned into a national nightmare. A U-2 spy plane was blown out of the sky over Soviet territory. The pilot was captured. The world stood still. America, caught in a corner, scrambled to cook up a desperate lie. It was just a weather plane, they said. It simply lost its way. but the laughter echoing from the Kremlin was heard around the globe. That single explosion shattered the historic Paris summit. The US realized their old tricks were dead. They needed something faster, something more terrifying, something impenetrable. Enter the beast, the A-12. The world would later know its successor as the greatest spy plane in history, the SR-71 Blackbird. But do you know the dark reality of how this monster was stitched together? Its limbs and bones were manufactured in secret facilities scattered across America. Then, under the dead of night, they were smuggled in blacked-out trucks to that forbidden patch of the Nevada desert. Inside the hangars of Area 51, they assembled this Frankenstein of aviation in total darkness. But who were the souls working inside this house of secrets? Were they ordinary men with families, or were they shadow people, erased from society and lost to the world forever? Get ready for the greatest irony in military history. The very aircraft the Pentagon built to dismantle the Soviet Union was made from materials stolen right from under the Soviets' noses. To build the legendary A-12, America needed massive amounts of titanium. There was just one problem. The US didn't have any. The world's largest supply of titanium was sitting right inside the territory of their archenemy, the Soviet Union. Trying to buy it directly? That would have been geopolitical suicide. So, the CIA cooked up a masterstroke. They set up dozens of shell companies across the globe, secretly buying up Soviet titanium through a web of lies. That stolen metal was then shipped to Area 51 to build a monster capable of reducing the Soviet Union to ashes. It was the ultimate Trojan horse strategy. But what was life like inside this house of shadows? The staff weren't just hired, they were hand-picked by the CIA. Your social life, the people you talked to, even your personal habits, everything was under the constant gaze of an invisible eye, 24/7. Once you stepped inside, you were taught one golden rule: forget everything you see. It was a world of ghosts. A worker in one room had no clue what was happening in the next. From the ultra-secret Project Oxcart to the surgical dissection of a captured MiG-21, everything stayed within those four walls. But one night, America's blood ran cold. Emerging from the void of space was Russia's first satellite, Sputnik 1. Every time that Soviet satellite drifted over the desert base, Area 51 would freeze. Operations ceased. Every aircraft was hidden under black tarps. Because high above, a pair of mechanical eyes was trying to rip the heart out of America's secrets. But even with all this paranoia, could they keep the truth buried forever? Or would the madness of ordinary people eventually shatter the mystery they had guarded for decades? Area 51 isn't just a patch of dirt. It's an impenetrable fortress. 3,800 acres of desert rigged with a ghost net of high-tech radars, magnetic sensors, and infrared tripwires. Here, even the wind needs permission to blow. Crossing that perimeter fence isn't a trespass. It's an invitation for the angel of death to greet you personally. But in 2019, a single bizarre internet post shook the very foundation of the White House. A young man named Matty Roberts posted a simple call to arms on Facebook: storm Area 51. What started as a joke turned into a wildfire. 2 million people swore an oath to march into the heart of this forbidden zone. Their logic? They can't stop all of us. The FBI intervened. The Pentagon issued a chilling warning, stating that the US military would not hesitate to use lethal force on anyone who dared to move an inch past the line. On September 20th, the world watched. A crowd gathered at the gates, dancing, taking selfies, and a few were dragged away in handcuffs. But that wall of secrecy, it didn't even flinch. Why is America so desperate to guard this specific patch of dust? This is where the legend of Bob Lazar enters the frame. Lazar is the man whose claims still rob scientists of their sleep. He didn't just guess, he swore, "I've seen it!" He claimed that deep within those hangars, they aren't hiding planes. They're hiding alien spacecraft. Technology from another star system being ripped apart and reverse-engineered by human hands. The CIA laughed it off. Their official stance: Bob Lazar doesn't exist in our records. But is the truth really that simple? We've seen the declassified files. We've heard the denials. But those strange, unearthly lights flickering in the desert sky at 3 a.m., no document can explain them. Some secrets are buried so deep they may never see the light of day. Area 51, a piece of another world sitting on Earth, or the biggest lie in human history? The truth remains in the shadows.